Hey guys, welcome back to another devlog, and yeah, it's been a couple of days since the last one, so we've got quite a bit to go through. So the last time we stopped it on, I think, the lily pad design and the beginning of the fish. So the fish has come a long way since, so we've added a point light to his head now, as you can see here, and it actually fits in, like, so when you're underwater, let me try and find a video of it. It gives the effect like the player is actually underwater because the blue light is illuminating the area around it blues, like there. So it's not quite a water area, but it still gives the player the effect that they are going through water to get the water gun. So yeah, the fish is done. It's got the AI. It follows. It sort of flies as well because it has the nav mesh bounce volume. I extended it to the top of the water, so it actually can just elevate itself up if it needs to get the player. So that's quite cool. So it's quite different than the rest of the enemies. Then we worked on a water gun design because I wanted House to have more realistic weapons than Cubism, but no Cube, sorry. Whilst also trying to fit it in with the fact that you're getting the weapon from the pond. So I thought a water gun was sort of the perfect place to, like, the perfect medium to go. It only does 10 damage and the fire rate is 0, so there is no delay between shots. I was going to make it automatic, but I feel like that's just, yeah, maybe a little bit too much work considering the time I have left on this project. But the projectiles are like a series of 3 pellets in a sort of staggered position, so it actually looks like it's like a bunch of water being squirted out from the gun. But yeah, it only does 10 damage, and yeah, so it's not like an overpowered weapon, so the player will still need to probably get another gun at some point, which I'll need to model. Then we updated the courtyard slightly, so we added the trees that we talked about in the last devlog, and the lily pads, the pond, the gun, and the fish as well. So the level's still come quite a way since then, so there's been more rocks added. And obviously I worked on the cave a bit more in the next bit, and all the texturing was done by this point as well. So then I worked on the cave torch, so it's like a little holder for a light. I was going to use a Niagara flame, I think I talked about that in my annotation, but in my last project I found that it was not even worth the lag on performance issues that it generated. So I feel like just for performance issues and to make my game more accessible for everyone, I feel like just keeping it out would be okay, and just using a point light but with temperature. It still looks good, it's still effective. But yeah, that would be my next step if I could figure a way around the performance issues. I then made a pedestal for the key, so the player needs to go into the cave, and the player needs to get the water gun to break the entrance to the cave to get the key in order to get into the house. So it's quite linear in how you need to get through the level. But I made this pedestal so it sort of fits in with the rest of the cave and makes the key more impactful when you get it, so you know that it's probably the front door key or a key of importance. Then I made a chest, so from this you can see, I think it's so the water gun's here. You then need to shoot the entrance to the cave then opens, and the key is there on the pedestal, so you need to get the key. It's glowing as well, so you know it's important. Then you go through here, and then there's a chest with a collectible in it. So spoiler alert, by the way, if you ever played the game. But yeah, so I had to make the body of the chest and the lid of the chest and then animate it so that when the player gets within a certain radius, the lid opens. I was going to make it so you had to find another key, but I felt that was just too much for just the beginning of a level anyway, because then the player has to do another series of events just to get out of the level again. So it's like almost 2 separate levels in one, just to get access to the house and then go from there, because obviously the player has to fight the fish enemy in order to get the gun, and so forth and so on and so forth. We then worked on the courtyard a little bit more, so it's now complete. This is me walking through it, so obviously we've got some more detail over there, a lot more trees, a lot more rocks. It's just more natural really. I altered the landscape a bit more, making it more bumpy and natural, I suppose. I decided to keep foliage out of my game because, again, performance issues. I learnt my lesson after the last project where it ran awful and was running about 10 frames. Whereas this one is stable 120 on my game, on my device. So hopefully it should run perfectly, or change the settings if people need to, which is why I made those settings. But yeah, there's now a roof on the balcony for the house. The cave is complete, the pond's complete. The whole courtyard's complete. And then obviously you have to find the key to put it in the door in order to gain access to the house. And then what I've started working on today is sort of like decorations. So to fit inside the house, to make it almost like a horror game, I wanted to make it so the humanoid's figure in the house is tanked with health. So it takes a lot to kill him, so it's almost not worth killing him. But at the same time, the player can if they find it too difficult or whatever with him in the room. So it's that perfect medium. But I'm thinking that I should keep the house fairly dark with an excuse of some lighting, and then having a flashlight that the player can pick up and use throughout the house level, so which almost gives the horror effect. And then the humanoid enemy does actually have a point light on him and glowing red eyes, so hopefully that combination works well, and we'll see how we go. But this side table is actually for the outside of the house, where the player can pick up the flashlight and then use it inside of the house, because otherwise they'll see nothing and it'll just be like intolerable to play. So then we got more devlogs, but yeah, so I'm going to work on more decorations and stuff. So we've got the walls all made out. Hang on, I'll show you now. So we're on devlog. So we've actually got the wall set out for the insides now as well. And I'm decided to only do one level of the house as well, due to the limitations of the project timeline and stuff. It's quite limited on what I can do in the time frame. So I'm going to keep it, so the house looks 3 stories, but you can only access 1. So if we just go on to levels and go on to house. So as you can see here, we've got, this is the courtyard here. So as you can see, it's all complete. The house itself, the textures are a bit funny, so I probably need to look at them at some point again. But overall, yeah, so that main part of the house is actually finished, and you can see it's quite big. And I probably need to extend these out a bit more. It'll just be finishing touches. And the side table is going to be out here. So then when you go in, this point light won't be here. So it'll quite literally be pitch black in there. And then obviously we've got the humanoid. He's got his glowing red eyes, and he has a point light as well. So if we move this, if we take that away again, he glows red. So it just shows that he is not to be messed with. But also, considering up here is the top level with no walls in it, and now we've got 4 rooms. Yeah, 4 rooms. Technically 5 if you want to count the main area as well. And then these stairs, it's almost going to be like a Resident Evil style, where I'm just going to put like a bunch of furniture and crashed wood and pallets and stuff to make it obvious to the player that they can't go up these stairs and they only have access to the bottom floor. So I only try and use level design to, yeah, save myself more time and effort, to be honest. But yeah, each room is going to be a different theme. So the main room is going to be perfectly normal, I think. And then, so this will be an upside down sort of room. So all the furniture will be on the roof, and the player has to navigate that. And then this room will be another theme, I'm not sure yet. And then obviously so forth and so on. And yeah, all this while the player has to avoid the enemy and finding the button to open a door that they found but obviously can't get access to. And yeah, that'll be how they complete the level, and then they'll get on to radioactive. So I hope you enjoyed this devlog, and I will see you in the next one.